Time now for Mr Nailsin's Wednesday Comics. And to catch up on comics that I read weeks ago, at least 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah, really far behind. But anyway, that's what I got. So, Superman, and this is all part of their all-in deal. And thanks to Absolute Power, and even though they were able to restore the superpowers, there was a bit of a mix-up. Don't really understand how that works, but somehow Lois Lane got superpowers, so now she's Superwoman. Of course, there already was a Superwoman. Yeah, there's been others, but the main one was the evil Wonder Woman from Earth 3. Although, in some versions, that's actually an evil version of Lois Lane, too, huh? Yeah. Huh. But she still had, like, an evil version of the magic lasso and all. Anyway, she was banging Ultraman, but also banging Owlman on the side. Yeah. Well, it's fascinating and everything, but here's Lois in her Superwoman suit. Looks like it's taking a nod from All-Star Superman, where she had superpowers for one day or something like that. But now she's got them for a while, until she won't, and all that sort of thing. But at least there's only the two of them, you know? Because the Superman books have been crowded with super people. And, it navigated it well enough. I mean, Superman is still, for the most part, center stage. So, you got that. So this one's off to an okay storyline. It's intriguing here. We see the distant future. You can see Superman. He's got, well, if you could ignore the fire burning all over him, his graying hair. And this is at the end of time. And he's meeting the time trapper. Or is it? Oh, it's a big reveal later. But anyway, so we jump ahead into Metropolis, even though it's showing this scene from the past, but it's like Lois and Superman from the 30s. I don't think they would have looked quite like that. And then it's suggesting that his original symbol was like the old thing, but it's just a little nod, to the past and whatnot. So there they go. They're at Daily Planet, and Lois, of course, with Perry running for mayor, she's still in charge of the Daily Planet, and she's, bossing the staff around, telling them to get their act together and all that stuff. And then suddenly there's a problem. This looks like a job for... And she dashes off to change into her Superwoman suit. And guess who's in there? Yeah, it's Clark changing as well. It's kind of silly, but hey, they're a cute couple and all that. So, okay. I'll keep up with this for a little while. It's not bad. And of course, it's got Dan Mora's art, which is excellent. So, it's not bad. It's okay. And so, of course, I'm behind already, but I'll catch up and see where this goes. Meanwhile, out of continuity in Elseworlds, which is usually for the better, they usually have some cool ideas and stories. And I was intrigued by this because this is the Green Lantern of the Tangent universe. That's from a long time ago, which was an interesting take, where they just used the names of the characters, but they were completely different from, the name they're derived from. So you had all kind of different characters, and Green Lantern was one of them. And Green Lantern was an interesting one where it was almost like she was almost like a horror anthology host more than an ongoing character type thing. And she would give people a chance to make amends for their lives after they were dead. So she'd bring them back for one night or day or whatever. I'd have to reread it. It's been a while. But it was interesting. It was a cool take on it. And I didn't get to see all of the different Tangent comics, but I got quite a few. And they were all very, very intriguing stuff. How long could that go? Well, but then they thought, they're going to revisit it with this. And so it starts off It's all kind of Vertigo style artwork and whatnot. That's fine. And then we see what happened to the Tangent Universe. Well, all the heroes got wiped out. Yeah, there was a big menace. So there's a few of them looking to save the world, which they do, but it leaves the world in darkness. And so now there's like zombies running around and monsters led by Solomon Grundy. Now, Solomon Grundy in the original world was Alan Scott's main nemesis for his Green Lantern. So it's fitting, that a version of him would be the main nemesis for the Green Lantern here. So the story is narrated by this little girl who believes in Green Lantern as this great hero because she's the only one who survived after the others were all wiped out. But hey, she looks a little different. But it's because she is. It's someone else entirely. She just gives a nod that her predecessor handed off the lantern to her or whatever. There's nothing mystical or goddess-like the previous one was. Just it's a completely different character now. And basically, she's all depressed, and she just wants to smoke and drink beer, and she doesn't really live up to the expectations of this hero-worshipping girl. But, oh boy, there's a heart of gold in there somewhere, I'm sure, and that's where it'll go, and I just lost all interest in this. It's a shame. I don't know that I'll even bother to check on any further issues. What a letdown. It just wasn't that. And I mean, the templates of it, a not so impressive hero who in the end does the right thing and that sort of stuff. It can work and you can utilize that. I don't think it's utilized well here. And also, with a character that was as powerful as the character was originally, I'm just not seeing her ending up like this, And so, yeah, it's not good. So, gonna have to pass on Green Lantern Dark. So having to catch up even further back is the first issue of this companion series to Moon Knight, Phases of the Moon Knight, which tells you stories. It did do one of Mark Spector in the second issue, which wasn't too bad. It was all right. But I had missed on the first one, so now I got it and read it. But basically the idea is to follow other, Moon Knights or Fists of Khonshu over the years, and that sort of thing. So, but this one gives you a story of a Moon Knight from the era of the Crusades, and then gives you a little backstory on the Shroud's outing as trying to be a Moon Knight when he really wasn't. So he really doesn't belong in this story. Could have told more of his backstory and how he became this fake Moon Knight in the regular series. But well, they put him in here, so you get the deal, and God help me, they open it up with another therapy session with Mark, and oh God, so tired of that narrative structure. Just anyway, Shroud seeks out Mark's help at the Midnight Mission, but Mark's too busy talking about himself with his therapist, so he feels like he's been abandoned and he wanders off. Later on, when Mark dies, he decides to become the new Moon Knight, of course. And here, it's not Clayface, but it's kind of a reasonable facsimile thereof in the Moon Knight world. And that's what he's doing. He's battling all these villains, and he's brutal and all that sort of stuff. But boy, did he make a cool outfit. It's just better than the original Moon Knight. But he's not the real Moon Knight. And that's it. It just tells you how he got into this, what his problems were, and why he abandoned his Shroud persona. But I guess he'll get back to it if anyone cares to revisit this guy. But that's what they did in this one. And art's okay. And that's that. The other one, the art's even better. in this Crusader Knight story. I won't spoil all, going through the whole thing, but he does, of course, encounter Khonshu, and he's already a knight, so it kind of fits, and basically it's a tale set during the Crusades, and he's disillusioned and loses his way or whatnot, and Khonshu says, well, become my avatar and you'll have the power, and blah blah blah. He later regrets it, but it's too late. But there you go, an interesting tale of a past Moon Knight, as it were. So 2 issues of this series, and it's just an anthology of these different iterations of Moon Knight over the centuries. And, well, I don't know how long they intend to run it, but it's so far so good. So I'll check it out again and see how that goes. Meanwhile, over at Dynamite Entertainment, here's a title that I have to catch up on a lot. I think it's on its 6th or 7th issue by now. And I heard a lot of good things about it, and but just never found time to get to it. This is one of the variant covers. I just really like Jay Lee's art, so I went with that one. It's too bad he's not doing the whole book. Nothing against the artist. He does all right in the story. But it's a very dark take on Space Ghost, who's basically, of course, just look at him. He's Batman in space, so, and he's got 2 Robins, a brother and a sister. But we get the sad story of what happened to their family. And oh boy, he's telling him, oh, we're getting attacked by space pirates. And well, it doesn't go well for Daddy. But then here comes Space Batman, Space Ghost, and he's brutal and mean and nasty, and he beats the crap out of these villains. And it's great. It's all good stuff. There have been other takes on this. DC had done a series that it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. And it was kind of close to the same idea, I would think, for that. But this is a pretty good starting point for the series. And here you see the kids are witnessing. Space Ghost doling out justice to these bastards. Eventually, of course, the kids will end up with him. They've lost everything. Even their little space monkey is very significant in the overall story. So it's a cool revisiting of Space Ghost in a very serious undertaking, as opposed to, of course, the cartoon show, which was very childlike and meant for kids on Saturday mornings. And then, of course, Space Ghost Coast to Coast, his late night show in his retirement years, which he had a good run on that too. But, I guess no hard feelings for all the villains who had to fill out the cast of his show, considering what he does to them here. But nevertheless, this is another aspect of Space Ghost. So finally, 2 issues of Geiger that I'll go through that I've saved the best for last here, because really the best available in comics now is Ghost Machine and Mark Miller's work, and Conan the Barbarian from Titan. That's your best bet. The main big two publishers just are nowhere near the excellence that these comics deliver. And here we get a story about, well, Two-Headed Barney. He had a brutal takedown in the previous adventure, and the 2 guys are trying to make him feel better by giving him a massive meal, but he's still too depressed and traumatized. So, oh boy, it's not working out, and you get a little flashback as to why he was badly hurt by the villain in that story. And he's just not feeling himself, So seems the rats get his meal, and he decides to go take a walk. And he goes on an adventure of his own. He meets some other mutant animals and gets a new friend who joins the cast. So it's of course, it's Gary Frank's art, It's excellent. It's well done. Who knew that the two-headed dog would take center stage? But the fear was that he was not going to survive that battle, and he did. But this is an interesting way to deal with that, and a credible means by which to continue that, because a lot of the factors of the stories, like when it doesn't happen, you just didn't have the guts to pull the trigger on that. But there's a strong narrative in the follow-up, and also introduces a new character and all that sort of thing. So it's cool. It's really great. It's very dark, but sweet. Yeah. One of the reasons it becomes so sweet is Barney's new friend here, the three-eyed zebra. So there's your new character. So Gary Frank was unavailable, but the stand-in artist is pretty good. I wouldn't say he's on par with Gary Frank, but pretty good. A lot of these times when you have a superstar artist working on a book and then suddenly he's not available, man, it drops off really bad. But I wouldn't say that's the case here. This is a pretty good style on this book. So here we have this poor three-eyed zebra having to witness the brutal lives that her new friends lead almost on a daily basis. So, oh boy, the Knights of Vegas show up to take down the glowing man, as they call him. And so he and his knight are in the battle with them. And yeah, even Barney's getting in on it. And off they go, and it's really bad. Yes, Geiger can cut your arm off, but you really can't cut his. But hey, look, see the Golden Knight, he had that radioactive symbol be a part of his armor. Huh? Yeah, he probably put some thought into it. So what's his name? He knows them. And he's trying to tell, hey, man, the glowing man's all right. Or no, that's one of his own guys. But, yeah, there he goes. He's trying to talk him into telling him that, you know, and he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. He's not who you think and all that sort of stuff. And so the setup is clear. He's starting to doubt, Geiger. And that's how, that flows. So it remains, yes, the best book, one of the best, with Mark Miller and Conan the Barbarian. And I think Geiger is the best out of Ghost Machine. There's a lot of praise for Rook and Redcoat. And those are good quality books, but I don't know. Something about Geiger really hit home for me. So I consider it the top book in this line of comics. And I do look forward to it. So that's the deal. It's, yes, independent and that sort of thing. And for the big two, it's tends to be out of continuity tales, because those tend to be left alone, with the really disappointing exception of Green Lantern Dark. That was quite the letdown. So there you go. You're all caught up with what Mr. Nailsin read. See? Oh, boy. I know. You were wondering. Oh, geez. Well, you're caught up. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, I'll have something for next Wednesday. I will, if not new comics, it'll be an overview of some others that they're old, but they're, part of the mainstream big two type thing. And we'll get into that.